And I realized that a core component of the fear that I have that something's wrong is the fear of it being my fault. The fear of if something were to be wrong and I did not advocate for myself, I was not quote unquote strong enough to pursue it or yada, 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 then if something happened, it's my fault. Feels like a lot of pressure. Mother, the mother. That's what we need. Mother, the mother. I don't typically talk about like medical stuff, but I am in the business of normalizing whatever the hell is crippling me in my life. And this has been crippling me. It's really been making me so anxious. Just wanted to shed light on the very real push and pull that comes with making sure you're not dismissed and trying to track down and make sense of like your symptoms or what's going on in your body that's making you nervous and blah, 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 while also just wanting someone to put their hand on your shoulder and tell you it's okay, you're okay, and you can believe them because they put the same amount of care and attention and effort into you as you do for everyone else.
Help Me See is a podcast dedicated to the art of seeing. It's a space for the restless visionary with an insatiable desire to create the life and work you're meant for. My name is Bianca Mora, and I'm a photographic artist, a mother, and a coach who's transformed my fear of loss into power, art, and philosophy. One of the scariest quotes I never want to say is, "I wish I knew at the time." But I truly believe that we have the innate ability to bring our wise 20/20 hindsight to our now. You can deeply experience your nostalgia now while it's actually happening with no regrets. All you have to do is see. In this show, we laugh, we cry, we get inspired, we overshare. We have life-changing conversations around making meaning, self-discovery, and shedding all of the BS layers in order to reconnect to our own sacred vision. Seeing yourself is an essential key to living powerfully. You are the vessel, the lens that filters absolutely everything in your life. What are you filtering for? Whether it be conversations with fellow artists and visionaries or my solo audio journal style introspective ramblings, each episode is meant to feel like an exhale, an unraveling of truth, a moment for you to be able to put your finger on something that you haven't been able to for far too long. Come exactly as you are. It's perfect. Honor your instincts. Let's uncover some of the most important things in our lives, which all too often can slip out from our view. Let's commit to seeing and consciously creating what only you can in your one and only life. Let's dive in.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Help Me See. Today, I am coming to you from the car, so it might sound a bit different. I am on my way going to a doctor's appointment. This episode is different in general, but it just feels like something important that I wanted to just talk about. So I have had this weird like breast pain, boob pain, whatever you want to call it, but not even like pain, just like a weird sensation that I feel like I've been feeling this since like Christmas. And you go through the process of thinking like, okay, am I overreacting? Or okay, am I fixating too much on this? And then I went to the doctor, and then the mammogram came out fine, saw nothing in the side that I was having the problem, and on the other side found something to keep an eye on. But there's this paranoia that I know cannot be just me about being told you're okay. I feel like oftentimes we hear these stories about how this person advocated for themselves and didn't take no for an answer, blah, blah, blah. And it turned out they were right. But what about that middle ground where you don't know if you're right? You don't know if you should or should not keep advocating for yourself. I've been in my body 34 years, and I know that this new sensation I've been feeling is new. However, I don't know what it means. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day about how she went to her doctor and was dismissed, and said, "Oh, you're fine," about something. And then she had been having this sidebar conversation with a friend of hers who's in the medical field, and they were like, "Oh no, you need to be seen by blah blah blah, like that, not to freak you out, blah 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 blah." And I just feel like in a world where the maternal instinct is so vital, and we do the job of so many, and we take care of so many, it's really sad and, honestly, in my experience, traumatizing to feel like I can't let my guard down to be taken care of. I can't trust that I'm going to be taken care of. And I'm not putting the responsibility off of myself and saying, like, this is why I can't relax. Actually, wait, no, I am saying that. No, I am saying that. But I'm speaking out loud the reasons why this behavior has come to be. I was thinking about it the other day, and leading up to this appointment, I'm like, okay, if everything goes well after this appointment, I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to let it go, move on with my life. Like, that's all I can do. I've, pressed this, I've pursued, I've asked, yada, yada, yada. I've had annoying problems with insurance company. Don't even get me started. But then even as I said that to myself, like, okay, after this, just trust it. Like, at this point, it's probably medical anxiety. Like, there needs to be a point where I trust the result of what's happening. And I realized that a core component of the fear that I have that something's wrong is the fear of it being my fault. The fear of, if something were to be wrong and I did not advocate for myself, I was not, quote unquote, strong enough to advocate for myself, or I didn't pursue it, or yada, 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 then if something happened, it's my fault. Feels like a lot of pressure. Mothers are raising generations upon generations of human beings. And now, with this elevated state of consciousness and gentle parenting and, focusing on healing and growth so that we can be the mothers that we want to be. But how much weight can a person carry? Not can. How much weight should a person carry? Should not. I don't know. I'm so frustrated with how it feels to go through this and to feel like any way I slice it, I'm doing something wrong. Like advocating for myself, but if I'm not, if it truly is nothing and I'm just getting paranoid now, then I'm wasting everyone's time. Like I'm wasting this appointment's time. I'm adding unnecessary amounts of, radiation or whatever inside of me earlier than needs to happen. I'm, wasting my life worrying about this. But if I didn't, and it was it's just exhausting. Just like talking out loud, the thoughts that go on. It's exhausting and it feels so ridiculous. But it's also not. It makes perfect sense with the way the world is set up. Mother the mother is what we need. Mother the mother. I'm nervous and I don't typically talk about like medical stuff or whatever, but I am in the business of normalizing whatever the hell is crippling me in my life. And this has been crippling me. It's really been making me so anxious. Just wanted to shed light on the very real push and pull that comes with making sure you're not dismissed and researching to the point where you're damn near getting your own degree, trying to track down and make sense of like your symptoms or what's going on in your body that's making you nervous and blah, 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 while also just wanting someone to put their hand on your shoulder and tell you it's okay, you're okay, and you can believe them because they put the same amount of care and attention and effort into you as you do for everyone else. So if this is hitting home for you, I just want to say, I see you. I'm putting my hand on your shoulder. And I really have nothing.
At the light, turn right onto East 105th Street.
Nothing earth-shattering to tell you other than let's take care of ourselves as well as we're taking care of others. Whatever that means. I don't know what it means. For me, it means after this appointment, I'm finding some beautiful coffee shop. And I'm going to sit down and I'm going to read.
In 3/4 of a mile, turn right into the parking lot.
Well, first, I'll probably follow up here, come back, record what happened at in the appointment, and then go to the coffee shop. Okay. Be right back. I'm getting ready to pull in the garage. Okay, so I am back to report that the appointment went well. I am still going to get an MRI to double check on everything, and that should be in the next few weeks. And
And then the ultrasound that they looked at was looking fine too, and I just need to follow up in 6 months. So, yeah, I mean, I promised myself that after this appointment, I am going to let my energy flow somewhere else. She did say, not that it's like time to be funny right now, but she did say that it could be possible that caffeine could be contributing to this weird sensation in my breast. I don't know how long you've been listening to this podcast, but if you've been listening for a while, you might know that I drink a lot of coffee. So, I don't know, but I've always drunk a lot of coffee, and now drunk, I don't know. I feel drunk. I'm so tired. Why all of a sudden would it be a thing? It's just over the years, the coffee bean caffeine has accumulated in my boob. I don't know. But clearly I had to stop and get a nice coffee on my way home. But I will take that recommendation seriously. I will test this. I will go a couple days without drinking caffeine. When the time is right, sooner than later, I will do this. I will. I am very intrigued. Okay, well. I need some more time to process. I'm tired and I need to get on the road, so be right back. Okay, I'm back. I am at my desk. My kiddos just fell asleep while I was doing the dishwasher and like kind of cleaning up, and I did not at all expect them to be asleep by the time I got back up there, and they were. Which is super, super rare for them both to be sleeping by 9 o'clock in this house. I have some night owl. No, I have one night owl, but the other one, my older one, stays up until around like 9, and then he tells me he's ready to go to bed, and we go to bed together. I lay down with him until he falls asleep. But my younger one, he likes to party. I just didn't feel closure around the conversation, so I wanted to come back before setting this episode to post. Of course, there's no like official way to end an episode here, but hi Miles. My dog just came down the stairs. I just had a lot of things popping up since I got home. I've had a headache and just kind of feeling a little bit blank. And I've been reflecting on how I told myself that after this appointment, I'm just going to let myself live my life, and how cognitively I understand that it makes no sense that I am living under the influence of like withholding that from myself until doctor's appointments, and how now I have another appointment to go to, but you cannot keep moving the goalpost. I think that's something that a lot of us tend to do. It's that we say, okay, when this happens, then blah, blah, blah. When this happens, then I can blah, blah, blah. When this happens, and then that thing happens, but you already see something else down the horizon. So you're like, oh, okay, it's actually that. And it's just so exhausting. It's such an exhausting way to exist. And I feel like it's really muting of joy. Like it mutes your joy. You feel like you can't ever actually celebrate something fully or soak it in because you already know the next thing that has to get done. That's something I feel like I've experienced a lot in my life. Is like I feel like my mom is always waiting for the other shoe to drop type of thing. And it frustrates me so much. And now I see that I do it myself too. And I'm just interested by this notion of like holding all of it loosely, not holding all of it in the way of like, I can hold the world on my shoulders, but in this way of inner groundedness, again, related to my craft, my photo sessions, my art. There's just never going to be a time where I don't trust that I'm okay. Like there is this, like no matter what, and I don't mean it's like a cockiness or like a, I don't know how to describe. It's just this deep inner knowing of like, I know that if I am breathing and here and present and prioritizing like truth and connecting with the people in front of me, all will be well. All is well with my soul. And it can be so much harder to do that with and inside of ourselves. Not in service to someone else, not doing a task, not in creating, well, maybe all of the above, but like in reference to ourselves only. Like, can I trust that it will all be okay, even if it's not all okay? I just finished reading this book called The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. And the first book, I think the first book I read on like consciousness, speaking of it the way that he does, was The Untethered Soul. And it really changed like everything for me. It's one of those books where you just can't unsee or, unlearn what that book brought to me. And he talks about like that voice in your head and how, you are not your thoughts. You are not your preferences. You're not your opinions. You're not, you are the one witnessing that. And this whole idea of your seat of consciousness and the witnessing. You ever, those moments where you're talking, but then you're also in your head being like, this is so interesting that I'm actually saying words because I'm freaking out. Like this happens to me sometimes. Well, I mean, it's been a long time since I've had a job interview, but like a job interview, I'll be talking after being asked a question and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm saying right now. Like, because I'm so nervous that I'm inside of my mind, but also I'm speaking coherently. It's just so odd. But anyway, blah, blah, blah. I'm getting on a tangent. But the surrender experiment is about how he decided to surrender to kind of the will of the universe in whatever that is. So although all he wanted to do was focus on his meditation and focus on his work and spend as much time meditating as possible, because he had this profound experience where he was meditating and he just reached this feeling of like pure love and peace and enlightenment, and like he was completely hooked after that. And he was very much not in that world before that incident. And along the way, he in saying yes and in surrendering to the will of life and experience instead of resisting it, and fighting it and working harder and, willing your way here, there, and the other place. He shares all of this crazy serendipitous, like synchronistic, weird things that have happened. And I think it's so interesting. I'm very intrigued by it. Also, I very much don't want to do that. But it was so beautiful because in the surrender, he was brought so many incredible magical experiences that would not, well, who knows if it would have or not, but seemingly would not have come to him had he done what he wanted to do. And the part of me, I'm like, yeah, but we have free will, and so it's the beauty of like choice and autonomy and, making decisions that are in alignment with us, but also white knuckle when you're holding on too tight. You can't allow for something more beautiful than you could ever imagine, right? When you're holding on too tight, you're really, really limiting yourself to what you can and do experience. So it's, again, just really interesting to me to think about, okay, I have my own back and I'm trusting myself and I advocate for myself, and there's a time where it will feel okay to put it down, to surrender. And what happens then? Like, there are all these injustices in the world, and oh my gosh, I acknowledge my privilege, my insane privilege in the experience that I am deeming injustice, right? I mean, it is one crazy world. I mean, every experience is valid, and also deep acknowledgement and holding space for all of it. And can we make steps to strengthen ourselves and link arms with each other and share and prop and hold each other up and support each other in these ways where we can coexist in a world where that's more supportive and inclusive for everyone, and also not be beholden to the fight. Yes, there are so many stories that I've heard of being dismissed in a medical setting, or, not happening, or whatever. And I can pursue, but can I listen to that quiet voice and pursue without the angst and the crippling fear and the emptiness? Can I hold on to a feeling of inner peace because I know that I am not withholding life from myself until I can submit to being okay. I mean, just tonight we were in the basement because we had a tornado warning, and a couple things like got really screwed up, like really close to us, and you just think about these things. It's like, oh my gosh, this doctor's appointment was the biggest thing today, and then all of a sudden I'm in my basement, with the kids and the dog and my partner. We're so intelligent and also we are so overly clinging to this notion that we can control what does it look like to not look away from pain and suffering and injustice and fear, but make space to also allow yourself to live with joy and with light and with love. A friend and a coach and a practitioner that I've had on the show, Malia Rose, she really changed the way I think about anxiety and helping myself. And she had said that it's not about getting rid of the anxiety or regulating yourself specifically. It's about making spaciousness around the anxiety, being able to hold more than just the anxiety, increasing your capacity to be with that anxiety and other things too. So as I wrap this super personal episode about my boob and my fear and my paranoia and medical anxiety and blah, 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 I'm leaving thinking about how I can allow myself to feel happy and carefree. Carefree, it's even hard for me to say that word. Happy and at peace and okay, and not feel like I'm jinxing myself. That's fucked up. It's not jinxing myself that something bad's going to happen if I feel okay. If I allow myself to feel safe and not like I have to hold my breath until the next appointment or until the next thing happens. I'm going to create space to know that I'm taking all of the steps necessary to do what I want to do, to look into an issue, and also living my life, making space for both. What in your life is happening that you can think of it, or you can look at it and think, instead of trying to push it away or resolve it or fix it, like, what if you just try to create more space around it? Breathe around it. acknowledge it, be with it, empathize with it, thank it, and increase your capacity to experience more outside of that as well. It's not that we're trying to make the thing disappear. It's that we're increasing our internal state, our capacity, our space to hold a lot more things, which naturally can make that one thing that feels really hard feel a little bit more right-sized, a little bit smaller, just as a natural byproduct. Okie dokie. So that is what I have for you today. For the record, this is not a formal turn of the podcast. I will probably not make it a habit talking about my body parts and medical issues, but it's just been so consuming for me for since the end of last year. And I wanted to speak it out. And you know what? Honestly, maybe just letting it out here will take a lot of the air out of it as well. You know how that works. Okie dokie. That is what I have for you today. If you feel inspired to leave a review on the podcast, it would be greatly appreciated. Apparently that's how other people finally find the podcast, is through reviews and sharing and stuff like that. So I thank you so much for being here and spending your precious minutes listening to my innermost ramblings, and I hope they have been of some service to you. So until next week, love ya.
This has been an Awkward Sage production.